In my first week at university, just starting my undergraduate maths studies, we had an induction lecture. And I can't remember which of the maths lecturers it was at my university that gave the induction speech, but one of the first things that he said to this lecture theatre packed with a few hundred new undergrad students, including myself, was, "Mathematics is not a spectator sport." And unfortunately, I've forgotten a lot of the stuff that I learned during my undergraduate years. But this is one of the things that I really do remember. One of the first things that was said to us as undergraduate maths students. And a couple of decades after these words were spoken to us, they still remind me to this day that simply watching your teacher solve problems in the classroom, but not solving problems yourself, reading your textbooks, but without attempting any of the problems yourself, sitting and mindlessly taking notes in class, none of this is sufficient for you to effectively learn mathematics. To learn mathematics, you have to do mathematics. You have to get your hands dirty solving problems, making the mistakes, asking questions. You can't learn mathematics passively. You have to be active in your role as a learner of mathematics. And don't misunderstand me, you can learn a lot from carefully analysing worked solutions that your teacher provides you with, or that you see in textbooks. Even YouTube videos, if they're watched properly, can play an important part in your progress. Now, I can't say exactly what proportion of your time should be spent on solving problems and how much time should be spent reviewing notes and so on. You have to work that out for yourself. In any case, you have to make sure that you're spending sufficient time solving problems. That's sufficiently challenging problems, sufficiently varied problems, and sufficiently often. And you can try to come up with a whole range of excuses for not spending time solving problems. You're too busy, you're too tired, nobody cares, whatever. None of these excuses matter, because the upshot is that if you don't spend enough time actively doing mathematics, solving problems, then you will not learn mathematics properly. And the same applies to mathematics as anything else. I've never heard of any footballer learning to play football just by watching football matches and never having played a game themselves. How about learning to drive? I don't know anyone that's ever learned to drive just by watching other people drive, or reading about how to drive, or watching YouTube videos on how to drive without ever driving a car themselves. It just doesn't happen. Not with football, not with driving, and not with mathematics.